Hello everyone. So in this video we are giving you a demonstration of how to conduct a co-design session. So this will help you as a part of the assignment 7's solution. So we have couple of students with us. I will shortly introduce you to all the students. So as you have seen the explanation of how to conduct a co-design session, I already have a session plan along with the time for it. So I will start my first part of the session, which is brief that I will give to my participants, and I have planned an approximate timing of 2 minutes for doing this. So here is all our participants. Shortly they will introduce to you each one of their names and other details, but let's first start with giving them the brief why we are here together. So hello everybody, welcome to this particular session. Thanks for joining us. So today what we are here for is, so as you all know, being part of the IITG community, we are a group of about 10,000 people living in the campus, most of whom are students. So around 6,000 of them. We have faculty members, their family, staff, their family, and many others who live in the campus. There are also every day we have some visitors. There are some staff members, faculty members who live outside the campus. We have others, say for example gardeners, maids who come to the campus every day, commute inside the campus. We have visitors like researchers from other institutes and so on. So as you know, our most common mode of transportation for all students is bicycles. Faculty and staff, they also do have, some of them, their family members have bicycles, but most of them use motorized vehicles. In terms of commute, we do have public transportation like the 5 e-rickshaws which you can call and get over here. Apart from that, you also have a bus service in the every hour which shuttles between your hostels to the academic complex. We all know that the e-rickshaw services, they work only during a certain time of the day. Also the bus service, they are meant only for the class hours and they are very, very crowded. So in our campus we have thought that why not let's discover and discuss and find the opportunity for a bicycle sharing service. So today we will all try to design such kind of a bicycle service, sharing service for our campus. So that's what we have gathered. So it would be great if each one of you can now introduce to our audience your name, the hostel that you live in, the branch and other details, then how do you commute daily to the campus. You can also tell us about how many times do you come to the academic complex and the way you travel and any challenges. So we'll start with you.
Hello, my name is Soumitra Kemkar. I am a first year student of MDes and I stay in Lohit hostel. I basically commute using my bicycle and my travel includes hostel to the academic building, and sometimes I go to the library, the market complex. I usually end up traveling about 3 to 4 times a day to the academic building. During mostly lunch hour, I have to go back, and I travel about 4 to 5 kilometers on my bicycle every day.
So each one of you, when you are telling about the places from where you commute as well as the distances and all that details, it will be great if you can also take some notes regarding whatever you are talking. So yes, we will start with you.
So I am Vishwa Prasanna. I am a first year BDes student. I stay in Brahmaputra hostel. My basic means of commute is a bicycle. So I move from my hostel to the academic building, from there to the library and to the SAC and so on. So it takes around 3 to 4 commutes from my hostel to different places in a day. Other than that, I may go to some other place, say for eating somewhere. So that happens rarely, once or twice a week. And it takes approximately 5-6 kilometers in travel.
Hello everyone, I'm Shagun Maskara. I'm a first year student of BDes. I live in Dhansari hostel, which is approximately 1 kilometer from the academic building. I have to commute every day 4 times from academic building to the hostel, and then apart from the academic building, I go to the SAC, I go to the food court, I go to the sports centers. So that usually adds up to 4 to 5 kilometers per day of commute. My way of commute is bicycle.
Hello everyone, my name is Rohan. I'm a Master of Design student in IIT Guwahati. I live in Brahmaputra hostel, which is one of the farthest hostel from academic block. So it is around 1 kilometers from here. In my daily commute, I usually travel to the academic block, library, student activity center. So overall, the distance of the commute of the whole day takes around 6 to 7 kilometers for me. So yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us and for the introduction that you give. So once I have got the group introduced to each other, the next step that we will try to do is build the group. We will take around 15 minutes in this particular session. It's always good that you time each and every session and try to stick more or less to that time. So what we will do now is, with each one of you, we will start discussing. So during your daily commute to each one of these places, what are the challenges do you face and how do you think you can solve those challenges?
Okay, so mostly because I stay in Lohit. Lohit is a very new hostel, and the first thing that comes to my mind is there is no availability of a proper parking space for the bicycles. So mostly all the bicycles are parked in the corridors of the ground floor section of the Lohit hostel. Another thing would be I go to the market and there is a gate at which we have to park our bicycles and then walk towards the market outside the campus. So there is a huge problem of parking because there is no particular space. There are some water, river kind of, a very small rivulet that runs near the gate, and because of that there is a tiny bridge which you have to cross, and the road is not a very constructed in a constructed form, so there ends up being a lot of mud during the rains, and the main road that connects the Brahmaputra hostel to the other hostels, it has a lot of heavy traffic. So the buses and the ambulances and other vehicles which pass by, they face a certain problem. Even the bicycles, they are faced with the threat of heavy traffic, and that causes a lot of inconvenience. Another typical spot that I visit is the market complex. So market complex, when we have to go towards the market complex, which is situated at the other end of the campus gate, and we have to cross a hillock. So we have to climb the slope and climb it down again to reach there, and mostly we end up taking the bicycle in a hand. So the purpose of having a bicycle is not necessarily served. And another route that goes to the market complex goes through the faculty residency. So it's kind of inconvenient or kind of a complex procedure to go through that. I think, yeah. During the rains, the bicycles, because Lohit does not have a particular stand, those bicycles which are parked outside, they tend to get rusted, and it's very difficult to get to those because the road is still under construction. These are some of the pain points that I think I can highlight.
Do you find any challenges in the SAC?
Yes, SAC also is a new constructed building, so the parking is kind of open at this moment. There is no shelter for the bicycles there. So yeah, and the roads also connecting to the bicycles, most of the roads, in fact there are many more roads which are constructed, but water tends to get locked in those areas. So even it is a problem for pedestrians as well as those driving by the bicycles. The fear of splashing and soiling their clothes is very high. And even academic complex, I feel that there are 4 cores, but the bicycle parking is situated, the main parking is situated in front of core 1 and core 3. So most people tend to park there, and the capacity is not enough for the students, I think, and that tends to, in the rush hours, we cannot find a proper parking spot. It is not shaded, so you either face the problem of having a lot of sunlight or a lot of rain, which can damage the bicycles.
What about the outside the campus, the faculty gate?
So we are not allowed to take our bicycles outside the campus without registering, or if we don't have a sticker from the security guards. So we either have to drop them at the gate and leave it at the risk of our own or the security, but they do not actually have the time to look over all of the bikes. So then it's a problem to take the bicycles outside the campus.
Okay. What would you like to add, Vishnu Prasanna?
I would like to build on his point during monsoon season. So it rains a lot, and then the roads are not, they don't have a good draining system. So the water gets locked, and while we cycle, the mud from the ground, it just flies up because of the tires and falls on our face and falls on someone behind us. And that causes a lot of inconvenience. Moreover, since construction is going on in some of the hostels, the roads that are leading towards the hostel areas, they have mud piles on the sides. So those mud piles cause a lot of accidents. So many people try to avoid that and go towards the side, and that mud pile just decreases the visibility of the incoming vehicle. So there is a chance of collisions, there is a chance of slipping and falling. So many such cases have happened. So that is one thing. And yeah, and other than that, the cycle, I take it for a long distance ride outside the city. So for that, I don't have any much problem with the cycle.
Okay. Do you also go around cycling trips inside the campus?
Yeah, inside the campus I do go. So that is also, we go in groups, and it involves undiscovered places, which we feel is undiscovered. So we go there, and even the same problem exists there. Though it rains a little, it is so muddy that it gets really sticky, and your cycle just gets stuck there.
Okay. What would you like to add?
Building on their points, again, the rain is a big problem with cycles, especially because the rain makes the ground really muddy, and then parking spaces outside the lecture hall and the library especially, they don't have concrete ground for the cycle parking. We usually park it on the lawn, and then the stands, they usually dig into the ground because it's soft, and then they tend to topple over, and then there's a domino effect and all cycles topple over. And then if you want to take a cycle, you have to remove all cycles and then get it out, so it's like a big process. So that is one of the problems in library and outside lecture hall. So I would suggest if we could concrete it over, at least provide some hard footing to. And not only that, there's another problem with lecture hall parking ground, that it is people usually park it in front of the steps, so there is no way that you can you have to maneuver yourself from between the cycles and then climb the steps to the lecture hall, and then if you're late, you're probably rushing, and then again the domino effect. So then that's one of the problems. And then as they said, the puddles, there are many puddles formed. So when it's raining, you have a few options on how to get where you want to go. You can either call an e-rickshaw, you can decide to cycle through the rain, you can cycle with an umbrella, you can walk through the rain, walk with an umbrella. And then no matter what you decide, it either affects you by your own actions, or it affects you by someone else's actions. If you're walking, then a cyclist will dirty you. If you're cycling, then you will get dirty. E-rickshaw is the only safest thing, but then we have only 5 e-rickshaws, and when it's raining, it's in high demand. So the probability of you getting one is very low. So then that's the problem with rains. And when you have your personal cycle, and when you have your personal cycle, there have been lots of complaints of cycles getting stolen. And I don't know what they do with it, because inside the campus maybe they sell it outside, but there have been a lot of complaints. So I think if we introduce a cycle sharing system, then that can be stopped, because they have everyone's property. It's everyone's property, so no one will steal it. So I think these are the main problems that I like.
What would you like to add?
I
Rohan?
feel that there are many more cycles than the parking spaces available, like in every hostel basically. So what in our hostels we do, like because of rains and stuff, the cycles which are kept outside get rusted and get damaged. So many people keep the cycle inside the corridor of the hostel. So that clogs the corridor of the hostel, and also if cycles falls inside, the people might get hurt due to that. So this is one big problem. Also, while we commute during like morning hours when the classes start, so many people cycle together. So it clogs the road, and like if a vehicle is coming from the opposite direction, they may cause accidents. So this is one problem. Also, in the evening also, when people come out of their hostels and roam around the lakes, people usually tend to park their bicycles at the lakeside itself. So
Mhm.
there is no dedicated bicycle, what do we say, bicycle track or something where they can keep the bicycle. So this is the problem which I think,
Okay.
yeah.
Another point I would, if I can add, is the roads are meant for the bicycles primarily because of the no vehicle policy. But the other vehicles that apply on the road are the buses, the institute buses, and the ambulances and the e-rickshaws.
Mhm.
And there is no speed limit as such.
Mhm.
So they pose a great threat to the pedestrians as well as the bicyclists. Because many of the common roads are the main roads which have the morning rush are crowd. And another thing is that the capacity of the parking lots outside library or the lecture hall complex or the new SAC building is not considered according to the capacity of those buildings actually. So the students who visit them, there is a lack of parking space overall.
Okay.
Yeah.
And another point, if I might add, is that people usually buy the first year rides, the new students, and usually they buy their cycles from the market put up in the campus, and then they all have the same cycle. Many people have the similar cycles, and there's a lot of confusion as to which is whose. And also, all the vendors they sell the same kind of locks and all, so they all can be opened with the same kind of key. So that's why the stealing of the cycles just increases, because if you just try your key on someone else's lock, there's a high possibility that it will open.
Okay.
So
Also, many cycles are found abandoned because students they buy a second-hand bicycle or a new one when they come in the first year, and especially master students, we only are here for 2 years, so most of them think like, should I spend like 5,000-6,000 on a new bicycle, or should I spend just half of that and get a second-hand bicycle? And the reselling or the disposal of the bicycles after the second year is not taken proper care of. So kind of there is a lot of junk on the campus right now, and the cycles are rusting. If they could be used in a way which could instead of them rusting and the material deteriorating over the years, it could really benefit some of the students if they could be maintained or circulated in a way.
Okay. Do you face any problems when you park the bicycles near the core one or other places of the academic complex, because the security keeps on rearranging your bicycle?
Yeah.
The major problem during the near the academic block is there are too much cycles. So even if a even if a cyclist get pushed, all the cycles fall down. So like when you are standing it, you have to arrange it yourself because you are looking at the event. So it becomes a major task for students. Like they have to go to do their biometric and things, but yeah, they have to pick them up because it's their responsibility also to pick the cycles. So this is one thing I have observed. Also, I have seen my friends struggling to find their bicycles because, as she mentioned, the keys of the locks are similar because the cycles are bought from same vendor. So one incident happened is my friend's bicycle was taken away by another person. So she was roaming around the campus finding her bicycle, and she got it after like almost a month.
That
So-
happens in case of locks as well as bicycles, because the bicycles are also identical because
Yeah.
you buy them from the same place.
Same place, yeah.
And when you're parking in the academic complex, you're usually either late or in a rush somewhere. So you park the bicycle in there are strips in which you're supposed to park the bicycle, and then there are walking strips where so that you can get to your cycle. But in your rush, you just park it outside the parking strip, and then the security guard comes and he picks it up and takes it somewhere where there is place in the parking strip. Then when you come, you look for your cycle, you can't find it, and then similar cycles are all around, so you have to go check each and every cycle as in which is yours, so it can be time consuming.
Many times it happens that few of the cycles are parked with a small space between them, which is too much for too much for
Going
a
in-
person to
Get
go,
it.
but then too little for accommodating another cycle.
Okay.
So you have to individually lift all
Yeah,
the cycles and
yeah,
shift them
yeah.
together so that you can accommodate your
Your
cycle.
cycle.
So that is a really difficult task. Plus, when you try to remove it, your handlebar either gets stuck on one of the other cycle's handlebars,
Yeah.
and then it results again. It gives a push to the cycles and falls on both sides.
And while you're turning, your bag hits some cycle.
Huh.
and then-
Okay. What about when you're commuting on your bicycles, you're also carrying some luggage with you. What are the challenges that you face?
So as design students, we are expected to carry A3 or larger size sheets. So we either have to roll them or we have to carry in a very large file, which is not possible to be carried on the bicycle. So on some days, especially rainy days, to protect those portfolios, we have to walk, or we put them between the bag and the bags handles, the strips. And on some days, the professor he's not happy if we fold them or roll them because that might damage the artwork. And especially if you're carrying a 3D model, that is an impossible task to, especially in the rainy season. You have the fear of them getting destroyed.
Okay.
Another thing is, even if you manage to take your assignment on one hand and control the bicycle on the other, it becomes really difficult after a while because there are so many people going in groups
Yeah.
and they don't go fast also. They just go slowly talking to each other, then they drive it in random patterns and you can't even predict where they're going to go. So it becomes really difficult to navigate through them and reach
Okay.
wherever you want to.
And design students, we have lots of projects. So like yesterday I had to carry my project, which is a 3D project. So I had to cycle like this, and then while parking, especially in Dun City, you have to go in and then there's like a sharp right if you want to go and park it. So then turning that with one hand and this, it's juggling both of them, it gets really hard. And even some of the professors are really strict about keeping their assignment neat and clean. And there's no way that we can put that in our bag and maintain its neatness. So we have to carry it in our hand. If it's raining, it's a disaster. If it's not raining, it's still a lot of work to carry it and ride it. So
Okay.
In case even we plan to take an auto, it's not very convenient to find it at the right moment in the rush hours, especially.
That's very interesting. Very good.
Actually the main challenge is like if we have to carry a A3 size or any project, and on top of that it is raining, then we have to carry an umbrella also. And
Yes.
upon that we have a bag with a laptop inside. So all this delicate stuff we have, and we have to go with the cycle. So
Yes.
and also Soumitra mentioned that it is difficult to find e-rickshaw during that time. So to commute during that time becomes a really major task for us. Yeah.
and we can't even choose not to take our cycle
Yeah.
because it's already in the academic complex and
Yeah.
we take it
Yes.
back. So
So, say for example, if I tell you that imagine an ideal scenario of commuting in the campus, what will be your metaphor for doing that, and why do you think of that metaphor?
Metaphor as in a comparison to some ideas.
Yes.
no matter how out of the world
Yes,
it is.
it can be as out of the world as possible.
Okay.
In that case, I would prefer Harry Potter broomsticks to just fly around the campus. I know that would cause a lot of air traffic, but then I think, yeah, why not? Or flying carpets, perhaps.
Okay.
You
But
can
why
share.
so?
Because traveling on roads and especially carrying all those things and the speed and the amount of effort that you have to put in, like there are some uphill roads, and in that case you really get tired by the end till you actually reach the department and you're already soaking wet in your own sweat. And also like if we're thinking about broomsticks, why not just apparate, disapparate or teleport?
Okay.
Like I'll ask my Spock to beam myself into the classroom directly.
We can use Doraemon's Anywhere Door.
Yeah.
We have an Anywhere Door. We think
Could
of
use
whatever place we
Bamboo
want to.
copter as well.
Yeah, bamboo
Bamboo
copter.
Stick it on your head and you can just fly wherever you want. No trouble of going uphill on that market complex.
Very, very interesting metaphors. So now you can see that we try to do a group building exercise, we try to discuss some challenges. When they start talking to each other and try adding on to each other's point, so you can see group dynamics is building up. The metaphor exercise also further helps to build a better group dynamics. They get into the imaginative mode of thinking, and a little lighter moment followed with some laughter and some smile always helps you to give a good refreshing break in your co-design session. So now we will go to the next part of the session, which we call as Seek New Understanding. Again, I have also timed this one. We will have around 15 minutes. So let's go back to the group. So we already have a good idea about the places that you visit. Also kind of the frequency with which you visited, the challenges that you face. But till now you have been talking about what are the challenges you face.
Hmm.
Can you think of the challenges that your friends are facing?
Yeah. So few of my friends, they did not buy a bicycle during the first few weeks of joining IIT, and now they face a problem of not reaching on time. We have a biometric entry to be made in the morning, and there is a closing time, but they have to struggle and run, and there is always a possibility of slipping down, falling, injuring oneself, and not being able to punch on time is the worst fear. So they usually take up auto rickshaws, the e-rickshaws, or they have to like really run towards the academic complex, and most of the hostels are at least 1 kilometer away from it. So it takes up to 10 to 15 minutes for them, and especially that is when the auto rickshaws are available. But during the after hours, like after 7 or before 8 a.m. Or after 7 p.m. in the evening, they cannot find an auto rickshaw, or for that matter, in case of an emergency, it is very difficult for them to travel along with us, and that wastes a lot of time. And in case of an emergency, it could be a really life-threatening situation.
Okay.
So many of my friends have either second-hand cycles or old cycles, or ones which have become rusted because of the rain. So that creates a very big problem that is hard to address. So that problem is the effort that is required to pedal, the effort that is required to commute. Because the chains are rusted, it becomes really difficult to move the cycle forward. The brakes are also really weak. So what happens is, if suppose they have to stop suddenly, they're not able to do so. So leading to accidents and breaking bones and falling down, all sorts of things.
Okay.
One of my friends actually had a lock that the vendor gave while buying from the campus market. So what they don't actually give the tube lock. They give the chain with which you actually put the lock and key it up. So these locks, they first of all, as I said, it's very generic. Everyone has the same. And another is because of the rain, it got rusted and it got stuck. So she couldn't open it and she had to go to the locksmith and get it broken. And then she finally opted for a tube chain because that is more convenient. So that is one of the problems that they're facing. And another is some cycles, the quality isn't as good as some other cycles. So they get rusted faster and so it's hard, and they need more, they need to get tuned up more amount of times, and they need to get fixed frequently, and that wastes a lot of money and time, because once you give it to the cycle shop, you have to walk back, and it's not close. The cycle shop from our hostel, at least, it's like 1 kilometer or something. I think more than 1 kilometer. So you have to walk till there. So and especially if it's afternoon, it's very hot. So walking in that is not very.
Yeah, as she mentioned that we have to keep cycle in the cycle shop. So like it becomes like normally in our routine we travel by a cycle, but I have seen that when people keep the cycles in the cycle shop, they have to travel by walking and or the other mode of transport, which they have to discover it later. They don't know it before. So I have seen people come late to classes because of that, complaining that my cycle is in the shop, that's why I came late. The another is a bit psychological, because as you mentioned, the quality of cycles is less, so cycle make noise and these things, so people get frustrated because of it, like my cycle is making so much noise, I don't like my cycle. So this is one problem that they face.
Anything else that comes to your mind, like all other friends of yours, and they face a challenge?
One of my friends, he was not well for a long period of time, and he had to be in the hospital for some days. So the only mode available to him of transport was compulsorily the ambulance. So it would drop him and pick him up at his disposal. But I think as a part of a larger system solution, it is not a very feasible one, because the entire huge ambulance has to apply for one particular person. Also, there are many small roads which connect to the hostels, on which students walk or cycle, and the ambulance has to go through the same road, and they are always in a rush. So they drive at a very fast speed, as well as on the other roads. So people who are on the roads for maybe a jog or a cycle, who might have put earphones, it is really risky for them to be aware of the ambulance that is coming from behind.
Okay.
And I think this needs to be addressed as well.
Okay.
Also, one point I missed is sometimes people tend to neglect this in what condition the cycle is. If the air is not proper in the cycle, people tend to neglect. Like it's okay, I'll commute. However, the condition of my cycle is, I'll see it later. So what happens is in this process they damage their tubes of the cycle and they have to pay more in the later period of time. So I have seen people doing this. So this is also.
So, what are the situations in which you decide to travel with someone? Say, for example, you can. Are you coming to the academic complex alone or with friends? There are other places where you might go alone or with some. So, what are those contexts in which you are traveling with others?
Mostly I travel with my classmates. We travel in smaller groups based on maybe a project that we are doing together. So usually a group of 3 to 4 people together. Otherwise, the group of musicians that we travel for practice to the SAC building, we end up traveling together. And many of my female friends, they ask for company, like I have to go to the market complex. It is kind of in a corner of the campus, so can we go as a group instead of anyone going on? So we try to combine or combine those trips together, so as to save time and have company as well.
So in my case, people who come from the side of my hostel, like Barak, like Kameng, those hostels are farther away from Brahmaputra. They are connected by the same road that leads to the academic complex. So many a times we often meet on the way and then we cycle together. And many of my hostel mates, while I go for classes, while I go for any eating expedition outside or any cycling expedition within the campus, we go together so that we have company, we can just say have fun.
With me, depends upon the discussion happened beforehand. If we have already discussed that we are meeting tomorrow, we leave together, then we wait. Otherwise, if I'm late, then everyone is usually gone. So then I go alone. And if I'm going out and then I see someone, so we cycle together. It's like that. This is for the academic complex every morning. Food court and SAC, we usually travel together. Food court and SAC is actually not very far from my hostel, so we walk to the SAC and food court together and enjoy and have company. And sports is by cycle. If I have someone I'm playing with, usually if there is someone who I can go and play with, then we decide to meet up on the court or on the way so that we can go to the court together and play.
So I travel with my friends usually when we go to SAC after classes, when we hang out together. That is the major time when we ride bicycle together. Another time is when we go to market complex, because it is, as Soumitra mentioned, it is far away from our hostels and also from the academic block. So if we have to go there, we have to spend our extra time. So everyone thinks that we can travel together over there, so we can spend a good time as well, so we can shop a bit, whatever we want. So, and also after dinner, sometimes we roam around in the campus because the weather is good in the campus. So these are few conditions when we travel together.
Okay. So, does your mode of transportation depend on you are traveling alone, you are traveling in a group, and how does it vary? And do you face any challenges at that time because of your mode of transportation?
It does depend on who you're traveling with. Suppose you want to spend more time with a person. Traveling by cycle isn't a viable option because you can just speed away to your destination. Walking will be the ideal thing. So during that time, what we do is, suppose we are wanting to meet up somewhere, so we come by cycle to that spot, and we walk our cycles along with us. So that is one context in which the mode of transport changes from bicycle to walking.
So sometimes one of the friends who does not own a bicycle, they travel by the e-rickshaw. So sometimes we just leave our bicycles in the academic complex and go with them by the e-rickshaw, or we just walk and come back walking, and that's how we do it.
It depends on the weather too. For me, if it's raining, then we decide what to do. If it's If it's sunny, then we usually cycle so that we can reach wherever we want as fast as possible. But right now, at this point of the year, there are times when it's really windy but not really rainy, but just before the rain, that weather, it's a really pleasant weather. So we prefer to walk through it, talking, and music and all, and we walk to wherever we want to go. If we are in a rush, then we might take a cycle.
Okay.
But depends on the weather and also the people. If our friends prefer walking, and we aren't in a rush, so then why not walk to give them company?
Okay.
So it's
Like our mode of transport is majorly dependent on whom we are traveling with, basically. So usually, many a times basically this happens that we keep our cycle parked at some place and then we go walking around. So this also happens. Also during rains, we opt for e-rickshaw. So this is one mode. Another will be if we are supposed to go far away. Or if we need to spend time with people, so as he mentioned that we take our cycles together so that we can discuss elaborately on whatever topic which was going on. So these are some situations where we like change from bicycle to walking to e-rickshaw.
Okay. That was quite interesting. Are you aware of any shared transportation services in some other campus, and tell us just something about whatever you know about those things.
I have seen shared bicycles in the IIT Bombay campus. When I was visiting there for an interview, one of my friend who is pursuing a PhD there, so she showed us around. So all you have to do is you have to use the application downloaded from the Play Store and unlock it using there is the certain code that appears on the app, and be using Paytm, and approximately I think is about 1 or 2 rupees per half an hour, and you can take the bicycle from any spot to and leave it at any spot. So that is one. We used to have Yulu cycles in Pune around Kothurud, and we also had it in a company where I used to work for some time. They have their own branding, and they also had solar enabled panels placed inside the baskets, using which I think the tail lamp and the small headlight which was provided used to work on that, and the locking system as well.
Okay.
I've seen many such cycles on the road to Pune. So they have hubs where the cycles are parked, and all of them are of the same color but really bright. So you can clearly see that it is different from the conventional cycles which we have. So that is easy to identify, and I think it works somewhat in a similar way as the IIT Bombay cycle sharing system works. So you have an app, either it sends an OTP and then you can unlock it and use it for an hour or so and drop it to the nearby hub.
Okay. Have you seen something?
not per se,
Okay.
but I have heard about Zoomcar
Okay.
launching their pedal
Mm-hmm.
side of the business, where instead of renting a car, you rent a cycle and you can leave
Okay.
it somewhere. So people who like long cycle expeditions but like only one side, and
Okay.
they don't want to come back cycling too, they can choose pedal to go to wherever they want
Okay.
and then fly back however they want to come
Okay.
back.
Yeah, many campuses have installed this system in the present times. Another system would be to use bus service or something that was there in Godrej campus where I used to
Okay.
work. So these are few, I think,
Okay.
cycle.
That's very insightful. What I would like all of you to do now is, now we know a lot of things more about this whole scenario related to transportation within campus. How are we transporting ourselves? What are the challenges we are facing? The group dynamics and so on. Now imagine that each one of you is a dean in IIT Guwahati, who is in charge of bringing in a new bicycle sharing system. So you have come up with a very fabulous design idea for this thing. Now the new first year batch, because all of you are first year and just 2 months here in, so you are very fresh with the whole orientation program. You know the excitement that you face, you go through. Relive that situation and imagine now you are a dean and you are addressing this new group of students and their parents. So think of this system. We will take about 30 minutes to think about this system, and then when the time is over, each one of you will make a presentation like the dean, and rest all of us will act as if we are the student or the parent. And after your speech, we will give you some feedback and we will also ask some questions. So you can see that we had a good discussion with our participants on how to commute, what all they face. So now their entire thought process has gone into the problem of bicycle. If I would have given this problem statement that imagine more ideas in the beginning itself, they might not have been able to do a lot of imagination because they were not thinking bicycle and they were not thinking commute. By conducting these pre-sessions that we conducted, now we have got them into thinking about this whole bicycle, the commute thing and so on. Why I did this whole session with first year students is because they are just 2 months into the campus and they are fresh into the problem of transporting themselves around in the campus, and they might be able to come up with nice solutions which are suitable for freshers. I can repeat this session with more mixed groups. I can bring in final year students who are also at this point of time thinking how are they supposed to dispose of their cycles. I could have also brought in faculty, staff members, their family members, or say the frequent visitors to the campus and done a co-design session with them as well. And I could have got very diverse point of view, could have captured their requirements as well. So now since we have almost done with our 30 minutes, so let's hear from our participants what they have designed. So Rohan, will you like to start?
Yeah. Hello, I am Rohan. I am a Dean of Academic Affairs. So welcome to IIT Guwahati. Since this is a green campus, we are implementing and we are trying to make it greener. And for this, we are putting up a sustainable solution like shared bicycle system. So you all will get to use the shared bicycle system. So what the system will be, I'll explain you in brief. So you will have to take us like we have provided a certain lot of cycles. They will be parked at bicycle parking hubs. You have to pick the cycle from that hub. You have to do your whatever commute you want and then park it on another hub where your place of travel will be. So this system will be completely free for you because this system is sponsored by all the food courts that are available, like food outlets that are available in the campus, another banks which are available in the campus. So all the system is sponsored by them, so you don't have to pay any single money. You have to just use it responsibly and think of the campus as a green campus. Welcome to IIT Guwahati.
So all the new parents and students, do you have any feedback or questions?
How
So,
we
what about the maintenance of these cycles?
So since I have already told that this all system is sponsored by our partners, so all the system is taken care by them. The money which comes from them, we have allocated a specific staff who will take all the care of your cycles. They will periodically check your cycles and repair them when needed. So you don't have to take care like of maintenance. You just have to take care of yourself and the cycle while you ride the cycle.
But what if I get a cycle that is not in proper condition?
Okay.
What do I do with it?
The cycles are tagged with the some like QR code or thing. You just have to scan it or you have to lodge a complaint with it. Or another thing we have done is if the cycle is not used for a long time, they are automatically flagged as damaged or need maintenance. So they will automatically be checked and will be repaired. So
How will you know that a cycle hasn't been used for a long time?
the GPS tracking system has been installed, which will track that the cycle is standing in this place for a long time. So it will help us to know about it.
Anyone has any more questions or feedback? Okay, so we go to you.
Okay. Good evening, students and parents. Welcome to IIT Guwahati. I hope you are enjoying your time here. I am the Dean of Cycle Affairs, and we have a group which has come up with a new way to ensure that every student gets to commute from wherever they want to wherever they want in a cheaper way, and they get to do it without having to buy themselves a cycle. So we have come up with a cycle sharing system. So what we have done is we have constructed cycle stands at all the major hubs. You will get to know all the major hubs in time. The major hubs are, we have one at each hostel, one at the SAC, one at every core, one at library, one at the hospital, and one at the sports center. So now you can, there are cycles parked everywhere. They are white cycles, white colored cycles, bright white cycles with ads from the companies that have sponsored these cycles, so that you don't have to pay for these. And they are parked at each stand, and you can take a cycle from any stand and go and deposit it at any stand, and it's all free. You can go from wherever you want to wherever you want without having to pay anything. Each cycle has a GPS tracking device, so that so that the people in charge know that no cycle is being taken out of the campus, and everyone knows which cycle is going where, and no one is misusing the cycle. And every cycle is numbered for easy identification and for easy, if you want to lodge a complaint against a particular cycle, you can always take the number, which will be easier for the administration and for you all. Now to make sure that the students have a sense of responsibility for the cycles and they don't misuse it, what we have planned is that we will appoint one person from the student body to each stand, for each stand, who will be responsible for that stand for a period of a month. And they are supposed to make sure at the end of the day that all cycles in their particular stand is in working order, and if they find any problem with any of the cycle, then they will have a sheet of stickers, easily removable ones, that they can stick on the cycle, which they will attend to in the morning, next morning, by taking that to the cycle repair shop. The person appointed for a stand has the choice to choose a group of people that can help him or her, and or if he or she wants to do it solo, then that is okay. It is solely dependent on the person. Then that's about it. And then at the end of every month, there's a survey taken by the students who vote on which stand always has the best, always has the conditions in the, always has the cycles in the best condition. So depending on that survey, we decide which stand is the best, and the person who was in charge of that stand for that particular month gets rewarded accordingly. And then after this, we change the person, we appoint a different person, and the whole cycle continues. Yes, and then at the end of every month again, we have a group of cycle repair workers coming from outside, again sponsored by the different companies that are present in the campus, someone outside the campus interested in advertising their company. The cycles are all sponsored. Even the cycle repair workers are sponsored by them. They come in at the end of every month and they take a routine checkup of all the stands and make sure that everything is fine. And even if they aren't fine, tuning up is needed for all cycles by the end of a month. So then that is taken care of, and then I hope you all find it convenient, and I hope you all use it, and I hope you all enjoy your stay in this campus. Thank you.
So the parents and students, do you have feedback or questions?
Yes, so won't this be an extra responsibility to students to find which cycles are damaged and to tag them?
That is what they will be doing to get the reward, which I can assure you will be something they would want.
So
We are still coming up with what it will be. I'm sorry.
the number of cycles per stand and one person looking after them, and the daily job of looking at all the cycles in the stand. So instead of having one person, could it be like a team?
So that's what I mentioned, that the person, it's all up to him or her. If he or she decides that they would rather have a group of people helping them, then they can either choose them themselves or come to us and we can appoint some people to help him or her. And if he or she rather prefers to do it solo, then that's okay.
And could there be a way to have this rotation kind of system wherein most students get to be get to an opportunity to be in that place, help out, so that not one group of students is kind of burdened by the same work throughout the year, because academics is also one thing that you should.
Yeah, it's not one group of students. I said that every month the people will be changing. Every month a new group will be appointed for every stand. A group or a solo person, who whatever is their decision. Every month the people or person responsible for that particular stand will be changed. So that the whole student body gets this responsibility, and there's also a sense of competitiveness between stands. Ki my stand was the best. So that usually creates this sense of responsibility in the student body, especially the people responsible for the stand, to make sure that it's all nice.
So how will you assure that every student gets the bicycle at their disposal when they want?
The number of cycles will assure that. The number of cycles, usually when everyone is at the hostel, the students will take the cycle where they want, and usually that is the flow of the students. Usually the cycles are going that way. So the number of cycles by the end of the day, mostly they will all be at the hostel, because that is where people will be coming back to, and that is where they will need it next morning to go wherever they want to. So then that will be.
Okay.
Any more questions? Okay, so can we have your plan?
So, welcome to IIT Guwahati, all the students and their parents. I am the Dean of Cycle Affairs, as quoted by Shagun. So, cycles are one of the easiest modes of transportation. So, they are really eco-friendly, and they're easy to store, and they're easy to operate, and it is much better than walking. So what we have decided is we'll bring in this cycle sharing system called Recycle. So what this does is we'll introduce a set of 3,500 or so cycles, and these will be either the cycles which you have, which will be converted to the recycles, and it would be the cycles which have been lying as junk for the past few years. So they'll be utilized in this. So what is this recycle? Recycle is this cycle sharing system in which you take your cycle from one hub and drop it into another. So all these hubs are located in key places such as your hostel, academic complex, your lecture hall complex, your marketplace, and the hubs will be dotted along the roads, so that if you have to find any cycles which are not available in the hostel or in the academic block, you can pick one from the nearby stand on the road. So how this works is, it is free for everyone. So you can just pick up one cycle and travel as much as you want. Before that, you need to scan your ID card barcode. So what this enables is, it gives you credits for the number of kilometers you've traveled. It gives you credits whenever you park it in the designated hub. It gives you credits whenever you identify that there is a problem and press a button that will be available on the cycle that alerts the system that operates it that yes, this cycle requires repair. So what this does is, this eliminates the time that is consumed in looking at each cycle and checking whether it is fine or not. So this shortens the process, and giving credits is a very good incentive for the students to use this service more. Moreover, this will reduce the strain of parking spaces that is very sparsely available outside our hostel and in the academic complex. So it is a very good thing to be a part of. So I welcome all of you to it.
And you said that I'll be getting credits for if I press the button for repair. So if I want more credits, I'll just make sure that the cycle needs repair and then press the button to get the credits.
That can be done, but it is up to you people how truthfully you use this system, because you're getting it for free and getting to be part of such an amazing
I am getting it for free, but I'm also getting money if I press the button.
So I'm not guaranteeing that the credits will be equal in value to money, but it will have some monetary value,
So I
which
will
won't
want
be that much
monetary-
that you'll be able to exploit.
No, okay, not even exploit, but if I'm getting even like a rupee for doing nothing, except for like making sure that the cycle is punctured or something, I would take it.
That is one thing we'll
Or
have
at
to
least
work
some
on.
people would.
Do you
Still
have
has
any other
So
questions?
credit
we
should
don't
not be for the maintenance of the cycle. that you should take care
But-
separately. Yeah.
It is to bring in the responsibility
Right,
that
right.
okay, you are partly owning this cycle and someone else is also be using it. So it is your responsibility that it is in good condition. So the credits is just a way to ensure that you're fulfilling your duty by telling that yes, this is a cycle that requires repair and I have fulfilled my responsibility by bringing it to your repair
Mhm.
shop.
Sure.
Credit for parking makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Maintenance, some might exploit it.
Hmm.
But maybe like since the system is something in which you have already swiped your card, if you do too many maintenance
Ah,
buttons,
right.
then somebody can come catching you.
Something is wrong.
Yes.
Keeps finding faulty cycles.
Any more questions? Feedback.
Alright. Hello everyone, I am Saumitra. I am the Dean of the Students Affairs section of IIT Guwahati. Let me welcome all of you to this beautiful campus. I am sure you have seen the amazing scenery that is on this campus and you would soon like to go around the campus. And once you settle down in your hostels, get your iCards and start with your courses, you will face that you will have to travel from your hostels and to your academic blocks, and as much as interesting the travel is, but you will need to save a lot of time. And also the fact that since you'll be here for about 2 years or 4 years, you will need a bicycle to commute. So buying one, instead of buying one for about 5,000 rupees or 6,000 or more, or a second-hand one which will require a lot of repairs, why not have a sharing system? So this year what we have decided to introduce is YOLO, you only live once, bicycle sharing system. So let me introduce some of the key features of this sharing system. Once you get your iCards will have a chip embedded in it which can be used to unlock the cycle. So it works in a way, the same way your hotel room works. You place that chip, the iCard, inside the lock and ride it. That is how you can ride the cycle and lock it and park it and remove the card. So your identity, your iCard will be tracked to the bike, and the distance covered by you will be calculated according to your identity and will be mapped to you. So basically, where will you find these bikes? The bikes will be parked in all the major parking hub spots designated only for these special bikes, which are located at all the hostels, at the new SAC building, at the academic complex, the library and the market complex. And there will be separate parking spots designated at all the exit gates of the campus. So you can not take it outside the campus for your own safety, and we can ensure the proper circulation of these cycles inside the campus. Another thing is that the maintenance. So just outside the new SAC building, we have a common repairing service system workshop situated over there. You will find that there is a supervisor over there who can help you. So if you find something is wrong with your bicycle, you can just take your bicycle to that shop and get the repairs done by yourself under the guidance of the supervisor. If there's anything major, the technicians over there will be able to help you. Now, since the kilometers will be tracked to your identity, the number of kilometers, perhaps say 500 kilometers, will earn you some amount of points. You can go to the maintenance and ensure that your cycle is repaired on time, so that it is in a very good health and your friends can also share it. So that won't have points, because as we discussed, we don't want you to take undue advantage of it. But putting this whole system and this benefit of sharing the cycles, we thought why not put a nominal amount of it to make sure that this works in a very positive way, so that you are aware of your roles and responsibilities as to owning and using those bicycles. They are meant for you. And so we have decided to just include a fee of 1,000 rupees per year. That will cover both the semesters, and that will bring the amount of money spent per day to about 1 rupee per hour. And you will end up riding about 5 to 6 kilometers, so that would be much, you would earn them back soon. Since this is a nominal fee, and you would have to pay much more if you had to buy a cycle, this is what we have introduced. So I hope that this of the students, for the students, and by the students scheme helps us all have a very healthy community on campus. Thank you.
Your system was that we'll be placing our ID card in the cycle.
Yeah.
With the first year rides, for the first 3 months, we get a temporary ID, which is big. We can't put that in the slot.
In that case, you can get a temporary card. We can arrange for that temporary card by the time it will be like a keychain perhaps, and you could use that keychain sort of card, like you when you get a new SIM card, you get that kind of card and you can use it as a keychain. So that kind of card, so that the keys to your hostels and everything also remain secure with the key. Also, one point I would like to add that we have decided to introduce this scheme in a phase kind of operation, so that we will start by having around 2000 cycles at a time, and based on the response and your feedback and the surveys that we will conduct every month, we will go on adding more cycles, so that by the end of year we'll have about 6000 cycles, and that should be good for all the students, I think. The benefit will be that we can do the testing and trial and error method of this and go about this plan to ensure its success. Another thing is that these cycles they can be submitted for a monthly repair. So every last Saturday and Sunday of the month, you will have those cycles closed for service, so that they can be ensured a proper healthy routine checkup, and you can have them fresh for the next month.
You said that we'll have to take it to the mechanical shop next to the SAC if we find that it's faulty.
Yes.
Why would we do that?
Because
We can just choose another cycle.
you can suppose you are on the way. So we have this mechanical shop at the SAT building. We're also planning to set up another one in the academic complex. So that you're on the way to academic complex, if something happens, you find that there is less air pressure. So you can just quickly go there and save your own time instead of having to find another bicycle. You might not have another parking hub nearby. So it would also ensure very good healthy responsibility on your part and help other persons sometimes in the same way that you could be benefited by someone else's actions.
So as you mentioned that the cycle will not be available every weekend of every last weekend of the month. So
Yeah.
so if anyone needs the cycle during that time, the suggestion would be like to do it in a different, like half cycles in first weekend and then half cycles in last weekend.
Yeah.
So that would be a suggestion.
So we could have a color coordination.
Yeah.
So that suppose I have green cycles, I could also have red cycles. So
Right.
the red cycles would go for repair in the first, the second weekend, and the green cycles from the last weekend.
Good,
Yeah.
okay.
That is something
Yeah.
we can definitely take up.
And could you mention the fees again?
Yeah. So you could have an annual fee of 1000 rupees. So consider you are staying here for 4 years, you would have end up paying 4000 rupees. And you wouldn't have to worry about what to do with the cycle later on, or the maintenance part of it, because that will be covered by the sponsors. So we have sports meets and the food court. So yeah, and the points that you would accumulate after earning, after traveling a certain amount of distance, you can go and encash them using coupons and get some brownie points and use them in the food court.
Is there any way, any accommodation for my guest if someone comes to the
Yeah.
campus to visit
Yeah.
me? I will be on cycle, but she won't, so we both will have to walk.
So like I said, for the students, for those who do not have the permanent ID cards, we will have the spare keys which will be available at the repair shops and the security guards of the hostels around which the parking hubs will be located. The temporary cards can be used for bicycles, and those who have permanent ID cards, they will obviously use them. That would also, I think, ensure the permanent ID card being on your body all the time and you do not lose it.
What would happen if the chain breaks while you're commuting and then you decide to just place it in some hub, nearest hub, and then pick up another cycle and go? How will that be taken for maintenance if you don't have it?
So, as I mentioned, since you put in the card there, the last person who would have put in the card in that bicycle will be mapped. So it would be easy to locate that person who might have dropped the unrepaired cycle. So that would, obviously that would not amount to any kind of punishment because you would obviously be in a certain kind of emergency, but you could always go back and get it repaired. That would be the ethical and social responsibility kind of role that you could play.
Or maybe you could ensure that one ID card unlocks one cycle for a certain amount of time.
That would be.
That would limit
Cause
a lot
problem,
of
yeah.
things. Suppose I leave another cycle and someone takes it and I'm not able
Yeah,
to
yeah,
use it.
true.
Very interesting ideas we have from all of you. Rohan, Shagun, and Vishwaprasanna, they want to have a cycle sharing system which is free for the students, whereas Saumitra's idea has certain amount of subscription. So, given a preference, now imagine that you are going to be the user of such kind of a service. You came in on here on the first day and you still do not have a bicycle. Would you like to go for, will you trust more of a free service or will you trust more of a service wherein you are paying 1,000 rupees?
I would have to, me personally, would have to see if the service provided is not worth what I'm giving. If I'm paying for it, and if the service is running smoothly and it's nice, then I won't mind paying it. But if the service is just being misused by everyone and I'm still paying for it, then I would rather have my own cycle.
Okay.
Like as a parent, if I'm thinking if the fees of the cycle is included in the academic fees, then I'll obviously pay it. But if you ask me otherwise, I like the free service because
Okay.
I
We
will not
that
have to
mentality, the extra
mental thing.
money we
Yeah.
are giving.
Okay. What happens if now imagine you do not have any way of owning a cycle in the campus. The whole campus runs on this shared bicycle service system only. If a cycle is broken in that case, you might leave one cycle, but you might end up screwing up the whole system because there will be too many broken cycles. So in that particular context, how many of you do you think the first cycle that you found was broken? Say it is very easy to alert somebody. Say for example, in the bicycle hanger that I have designed for all of you, I have kept some red seat covers. So in case the first cycle that you picked up and you identified that it is not in a working condition, can you just pick up a red seat cover and put that red seat cover so it is very easy to identify and then move on to the other cycle? Will you be ready to do that much of effort?
Yes, yes.
Or maybe instead of a seat cover, which can get expensive for the people who are sponsoring that, it's stickers will be fine.
Okay.
As if a sheet of stickers is in the hanger, you can just go and put it on
Okay.
something that is
Okay.
needs repair.
Say for example, I do not make this system in which your ID cards are involved in any way. It's a free system, you just pick up the bicycle, go wherever you want to and you put it in a particular hub only and not like leave it anywhere and everywhere. Now because that's the only system which is meant for commute. If you leave it anywhere and everywhere, next time you might not get the cycle at the right hub.
Right.
Do you think you will behave more responsibly?
Yes,
Yes.
definitely. If I don't have the option of my own personal cycle, then I would want to make sure that this is available when I need it. So I would rather park it in the hub than keep it anywhere.
Yeah, many a time, like 90% of time, it happens that we will behave responsibly, but sometimes it happens that we are keeping a cycle at a place and then we go around walking with friends, and then we will think that okay, let it be there. There is no need to go back there. So sometimes it might happen that we will not be responsible. As a student,
Okay.
I'll be frank over here.
Okay. In this special bicycle sharing system, would you like to have bicycles which are specifically designed for your requirements, like requirements of rain, shade, or carrying your objects?
Yes.
Yeah,
Very
it
much.
is a must because the campus gets dark early, so we should be having lights in our bikes. So it starts getting dark at around 5 or so. So then it becomes really difficult to go through because there's a canopy as well. So the moonlight also doesn't pass through and it is so dark and you can't even see people. Right?
Yes.
So you could have baskets, you could have lights, then you could have mud guards that will protect us from the rain.
Yeah,
We
there are
have
many
lights
roads
now,
in the
we have-
campus. Sorry. There are many roads in the campus that are actually dark and they require light. Like normally people, what do they is like they put on the torch on their mobile phone and they ride the bicycle like this. So
Quite unsafe.
Correct answer.
Yes, that is true. That is very interesting. What about, say for example, now you all own new bicycles, which is just 2 months old, and you must have spent around 5 to 6 thousand onto that. Now, if I say I'm going to start this new service, but I want to start the service by with your cycles and with everybody else's cycles, which are existing cycles. So now your cycle is no longer your cycle, but becomes IIT cycle. So if you have to sell that cycle to me, will you charge me something to give it to me, or will you give it to me so that because now you are going to, you can use any cycle in the campus, what will be a more preferred way?
I will charge you obviously,
Yes.
depending on the condition. I'll get some money because I've paid it out of my pocket.
Mhm.
And along with that, for using the others, if we are implementing the subscription
Mhm.
method, I still have to pay, because even though it is my cycle, everyone is going to pay the subscription
Mhm.
fee. So even I'll have to pay.
Mhm.
In that case, why would I give up my cycle
Yeah.
for free?
Mm.
So in that
And-
case, yeah,
Mm.
a
Yeah,
certain amount.
giving up for free, if I bought it, that means it will be at my disposal any time of the day. If I'm giving it for free to the campus, then I won't have that assurity that I will have it every time I want. So I would rather charge for it.
Okay. What if you are about to pass out of the campus?
Then I'm
Yeah,
okay.
then
So
we'll,
then will you give it for free to the campus, or will you still charge it?
By the end of
Even-
4 years, firstly, it is very difficult for a cycle to be in that same condition as we bought it in.
yeah.
So there is no point actually in charging. And anyway, we won't have any use for the cycle if we are going outside our
Mm.
campus, which is in some other city. The transportation cost itself will be more than what the cycle is worth. So
No.
instead, we could
Yeah,
put it to some
we'll
better
give it
use.
for, yeah,
Okay.
in that case.
Okay. Thank you so much for your contribution.
Thank you, ma'am.
So we have come to the end of the co-design session. You must be wondering how are we going to use this. So in a co-design session, the role of a moderator is like they will always get some pointers on which they can quiz the people, and at the same time they will try to note what they are saying. So all the ideas that they gave me, it does not necessarily mean I will use the same idea and put it into a solution. What I try to understand from their ideas is what are their motivations, what do they want out of the system. I can easily gather like they want a free system or they want a paid system. Under what conditions they want a paid system. If they are paying for the system, what kind of assurance they are asking from the system. If the whole system is bike sharing, are they ready to take responsibility as a community and behave more responsibly. So I get these inputs which I can now use. I can either use one of their ideas, mix and combine their ideas, or I can come up with my own ideas, taking inspirations from what I have gathered from them. I hope it was a good learning experience for all of you. Thanks for watching this video. Have a good day.